student mentee helpers and assistants. This is just another little feedback video to just help us progress through this next little section, and just a little bit of feedback that's come back from the teachers and just some things that we've observed. So all in all, we just want to comment and say that we are very happy with everything, the way that it's been going so far. We're super, we know that you guys have been taking a lot of initiative to follow direction and to get to know your classes and your students. And we're really seeing some wonderful things happening at the studio. I also want to, first of all, begin by saying how thankful we are and how much we appreciate the students that jumped in and started to help out to decorate the studio. The kids are just going to be thrilled when they walk into the studio this week and see all the Halloween decorations, and it just makes the studio look so festive. So I hope you guys had a really good time doing that together, and we really appreciate that. So that was awesome work. Another high five, I guess, or cadoodles to the students that took the initiative to come up with some team bonding games. Lots of positive feedback from the teachers that you guys had done an excellent job on that. So I hope that you enjoyed putting that together for your class, and can look forward to doing that again next month. So lots of wonderful things happening at the studio that we're super pleased with. And so this is just a couple things. I just got a couple notes here that I'm going to read you guys of some feedback that we've just kind of had throughout the last 2 weeks that just to make things even be growing and going better. So a reminder that this Sunday is going to be our retreat, and our first unit is always on the foundations programs. And a lot of times that's where we'll be putting in our mentee students when they're first starting their first class, that they'll start to take one of that level of a class, and we'll kind of begin you there, and you can experience what it's like to be in those 3, 4, 5, 6-year-old classes. So this week's retreat is going to kind of be all about doing that. There is going to be a fun little aspect to the retreat, and that is that we're going to do a little photo shoot. So when you arrive, I'm going to ask you guys to come in one at a time. I'll send some details this week. But I want to get some headshots done of you guys so you can wear your hair down and look really pretty. And maybe the girls put a little bit of makeup on, just some lip gloss. Don't get crazy with like stage makeup or anything like that. But I'm going to ask that you wear a camisole black bodysuit. So just a nice neckline, but I will let you have your hair down so you can feel a little bit more glamorous. And then boys, a solid black t-shirt. And again, your hair to done nice. Okay, so we want to get some headshots. Won't be a big photo shoot because we're just going to kind of get you through all the time one at a time. But in the new studio, I plan to have a nice big wall to display all you guys. So that's going to be an exciting thing. And I'll tell you another little part of your project when we get to the retreat. So I'm thinking that the retreat's going to start about 4 o'clock. And that will be enough time for us to kind of mix and mingle, and then we'll do the photo shoot. And then at 5 o'clock, we'll kind of start right into the activities that I have planned for the evening. This retreat, I would like you guys to just like pack some food and some drinks to eat to kind of get you through the evening. But there's going to be lots of things to go through. We'll have a training course. There's going to be some group session discussions that I'll put you into groups so that you can kind of mix and mingle and do some brainstorming together. And then I've got a guest speaker coming at the very end to finish off our evening. So it's going to be a great evening, and I do need you all to be in attendance. Remember that those are mandatory to attend to stay part of this program. Okay, so here's a little bit of feedback, just kind of going into the last 2 weeks. So we're looking at kind of Saturday mornings. And there was a little bit of a mix-up in some of the classes where, and this is what happens sometimes, is when they're coming into the studio and they don't have their parent coming in with them, or like say 1 week it was mom that dropped them off, next week it's dad. There was an instance where I think it happened once or twice that a child actually went into the wrong classroom because their classes start at the same time. So if you are a Saturday morning assistant, I think it would be a really good idea if you guys could get an actual class list of your classes so you know exactly who's supposed to be going into your room. So again, our goal is by Halloween, when we have the Boo Bash and the showcase, that you are knowing and addressing all the students in your class by their name. So let's say that that's like our goal for this next week. However you can do it, like maybe you have a little cheat sheet that has the attendance of your students, and maybe you write something down like, oh, Susie Q's got blue glasses or something. Anything that you can do to try to memorize the kids' names would be like awesome. And then even seeing you addressing the children by their correct name when the parents come in is super important. Like the parents want to know that the children aren't just a number in the class, and we know they're not, right? You know the kids and you know that you've had personal interactions with them, but sometimes it is very hard to memorize their name. But try to really, and I'm terrible with names, so I know that I have to repeat somebody's name like 5 times when I look at their face to actually get it to stick in. And it's not because I don't know who they are, but I'm like, oh, what's their name, right? And I can think of it. But to a parent, it's really important that you address them by their name. They know then that there's that, they can see that relationship that's being built, okay? So that's really important. I know that Miss Nicole will give you guys oodles and oodles of instructions about what to do for the Boo Bash week, but we want to get all fested out and get dressed up and really participate in those events. So it's going to be a fun week for the kids. Now I've got, when working with the class in small groups, try to make sure your group is still in their personal space. Okay, so we have been talking about distancing. So this is when maybe you're working on brush clothes or something. You've got them in little groups. Still make sure that you've got the kids distance at all times. We have had a couple close contact cases in the studio. Nothing has spread, and it is because we've had our masks, but we do still want to, if I phone public health and they ask me what our protocols have been in the studio, I want to say that our students have been socially distanced. And I want to know that that is what has happened in the classroom. So even if you have to use a dot or something to spread them out, make sure at all times they are social distance, even when they're in their little groups, okay? Careful again too that, you know, obviously we're still trying to keep reminding them about how to wear their masks. The younger ones struggle with that a lot more than obviously the older children, but to keep that going up, okay? Also, when you're in the classroom and you're demonstrating for them, always be aware too that you're facing the children. Okay, so sometimes we end up turning our backs to the kids and we think that they're following us, but it's always best for them to see eye contact, be mirroring them. So if you want them to use the right foot, make sure you're using the left foot, and always be facing the kids when you're doing any type of demonstrating. Okay. So some other things that have come up. Okay, so when the teachers have to do something one-on-one, this is a really big thing, okay? I observed this a little bit going into the classrooms this last couple weeks, but you know, when you do get a larger class, and we do have to sometimes teach the children one at a time, like maybe we're working on a skip, or maybe we're doing something down the floor. I am going to encourage that steps down the floor are not ever done one at a time, okay? Even if it's 2 at a time or 2 groups at a time, or something happening that is making the class go a lot faster. You have to think that if you're 3, 4, or 5 years old, and if you were in a dance class and you had to watch the whole class go down the floor, and like right now, we're jumping over a dot. That's a big step. Like for children to be able to jump from 2 feet and jump onto 2 feet, it takes children that are really young. That's a large, that's a big coordination step. It takes them a long time to actually be able to do that. Sounds simple. We're like, it's a jump, but for them, it is actually difficult. So we're working on that, right? Little runs, jump over the dot, little runs, jump over the dot. But if they have to sit there and watch that and watch every one of their classmates do that, and they've done it one at a time, you've completely lost the attention span of the rest of class and they're bored. So our goal is that never, ever, ever are the children that are waiting their turn in a class that is 5 years old and under, are they not moving and dancing? So, you know, even if they get into the theme, like even if they're running over the dot and jumping, you've got them on the ground and they're being like the crocodiles or something, and they're trying to get them, or you've got them doing, you know, anything that you can do that gets them still dancing and moving. So, you know, maybe there's 2 teachers that are assigned to getting the kids to go down the floor. Like I said, would not recommend one at a time. I still think you need to do things in at least pairs or 3 at a time, but the rest of the kids are still participating in dancing. They don't want to sit crisscross applesauce. That could take a good 10 minutes to do that in the class. That is way too long for the kids to not be dancing. So in a 45-minute dance class, 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, they're dancing the entire time. 45 minutes, they're dancing. There's no waiting around time. So your assistants, if the teacher needs to see something one at a time because they're working on an actual skill, like the skips, your job is to make sure that those kids are doing something else, or they're working on the skips on the side, or they're anything. They just can't be just sitting there in the class, okay? All right. Now I did send the student links out for all you guys to get into the Google Classroom. So hopefully everybody did that. So you should be attaching yourself to your classroom to be staying in touch with what the teachers are assigning. Really important for exam classes, because now we're starting to submit homework to the kids. And so you can stay on top of that and make sure that you actually know that. Same thing. If the teacher needs to run out of the class at the very beginning of the class, you know the plie exercise, get it going. You know their homework that they had from the week before. Let's see it. Let's do a quick review before the teacher walks in here. Let's make sure that, you know, we can impress Miss Randy and show her that we did our homework this week. So let's review it, right? So just always staying on top of that is super, super helpful. Okay, we did talk about the team bonding exercises, so that was great. So just keep on coming up with those ideas and share with each other. Maybe that's something we can talk about in the retreat too, if somebody had some really good ideas that they want to share, because we can just pass it around to different classrooms, right? So even though we've done it before, doesn't mean that we can't do it again with a different room. So that was great, you guys. I really, really appreciated that you took that task quite seriously, and I know the kids had enjoyed that. The other thing I did want to we talked about this in August, and this was about cleaning the bathrooms. So last year, if you were an assistant, you were required to clean the bathrooms after every single use that the child went to the bathroom. So if they came out of class with you, you immediately cleaned it up after. Now we're not requiring you to do that this year. We do not need to clean the bathrooms after every single use. However, I did say at the beginning of the year that it was going to be part of your duties that at the end of your class that you were to go to the washroom. So if you're in Studio C, you have that Studio C lobby washroom to watch over. And if you're in A and B, you've got the two main washrooms in the lobby to look at. And I would like you to go in there, and I want you to check that the toilet paper has been put away, that there's nothing on the floor. Do a quick Lysol wipe of the seat and the handles and the faucets. The Lysol is always in the washroom there, but I would like that to be done after every hour. Now, one of the things we did observe, and Miss Randy brought this to my attention, which was a great idea, is that if you are in Studio A and B and you have a little one that you're taking to the washroom, a lot of times you're just letting them go to the washroom and then you're just sitting back and you're waiting for them to come out. So we thought that would be an awesome opportunity for you to go and clean the other bathroom. Okay, so just instead of standing there and doing nothing, just make yourself a little bit more helpful and go and tidy up that other bathroom as you're waiting for the other one to the child that's in the washroom that you had taken finish up. Okay, make sure the kids wash their hands when they're done, and again, just do a quick look over to make sure that those bathrooms are staying neat and tidy. Okay. Okay, so I think that was it for those little updates. I might have a couple more here. Like I said, we've got our retreat coming up, which is super exciting. Okay, here's one more reminder. So a reminder to the helpers that when they are making or taking materials and props out of the drawers from whatever studio, that at the end of the class they are assisting, that the props need to be returned to that correct place. That's really important, okay? From the studio which they borrowed them from. I think a lot of times stuff is getting taken from the drawers, which is totally fine, but then not put back, which is not fine in our opinion, okay? So make sure that they do go back into the drawers. The teachers are relying on that because a lot of times a teacher might come in and she has a daytime class and she knows where her materials are and she's ready to go in her class, and all of a sudden she's halfway through her class, she opens up her drawer and her stuff is missing. And now she's got to go running around the studio trying to find it. So do make sure that you put everything back. And then there are buckets of supplies left on the floors in the studios, which also just makes things look very untidy. So again, we are trying to walk around that studio and see and use our eyes and observe and say, does this space look like we could have Christmas supper here? Would my mom or dad be happy that this is the way our house looks to invite guests over? And that's the way our studio needs to be presented. So do your job of looking around and seeing what needs to be sent out. The other thing is that there's still pictures that need to go out, and they're sitting in buckets, and I've got them labeled with the child's name and the time of day that they come in. So that could be another thing that assistants you could help out with. Ask your teacher, do you think that there's any pictures that need to be looked at and handed out? They're sitting in the staff room in a bucket. You could go and help out by looking and seeing if there's any of the kids that are in your classes and get that stuff sent out to the parents, okay, or to the students before they go home. Other than that, I think that those are kind of our last little tips for this little section. Do please though remember that you need to be responding to these. Try to watch these as soon as you can, because these are helpful tips to get you right into your next teaching class. I'm hoping that again, when our mentees go to take their very first shadow class, which will be assigned next week, that you're going to have a little bit more of a tidbit into doing a great job that first class. And hopefully this will take away a little bit of the nerves and know what your expectations are. But after this weekend's retreat, I feel like we should be able to give you a great head start into having a successful first assisting class. But again, like I said, watch the videos. Please respond right away as soon as you can that you have watched it, so that we know that everybody's staying on board, and that's great that we don't have to come finding you. So have a wonderful week. We've got lots of exciting things coming up with the showcases and the boo bashes. We got everything. We're getting everything kind of set up for that, and that should be really fun. The other thing that's happening this week is that we're celebrating Saskatchewan dances. And so we are going to be putting together a big video that we're going to be promoting on October 27th, and it's called Saskatchewan Dances Together. So we're trying to promote dance in the province. So we're going to be having a green and yellow theme in all of our classes this week and possibly into next week, where we're going to be learning a piece of choreography, but also even just doing some free dancing, just literally videoing dance happening in the studio, the kids loving dance, promoting dance, and we want you guys to be a part of that. We might even get a little bit of news coverage with this, so there's an opportunity that you could be kind of featured on some of that. But get the kids pumped about it, get them excited. If you've got some older kids, even the little guys, keep reminding them that, get them in that spirit of wearing their green and yellow. And we'd love to see you guys wearing green and yellow for all your classes this week too. Okay. All right. I will talk to you guys later, and I will see you guys this Sunday at our second retreat. Okay. Take care, everybody.